Good evening and welcome to Moving Forward, a production of the Bay and Grantstown Advancement Association. On this program, we focus on issues of primary importance to Bay and Grantstown, but also we deal with issues of national, regional, and international importance. Welcome. Today, of the many hot button issues dominating our national discourse, none is as hot as the 4 constitutional amendment bills which will be determined by a referendum on June 7th, 2016. But before we focus on the 4 bills, we should just like to point out that one of the fault lines exposed by this discussion is the extent to which Bahamians do not really know the Constitution. We have not read it sufficiently, and it points out to the fact that perhaps a focused effort should be made to familiarize our people with at least those important provisions that deal with major sections of our society, because it is felt by some that some of those provisions are restricting our moving forward as a nation. But that is another discussion for another day. This evening, we have the right person to assist us in looking at the 4 bills and to understand them and to bring some clarity, because for the most part, there have been a lot of discussions held. Eminent persons have been saying yes, and as eminent or perhaps as numerous are saying no. We feel that at the end of this program, our viewers would want to have a better understanding so that the emotions can be removed to the extent possible and we can focus on the real issue. Our guest this evening is the Honorable Harvey Tynes. Harvey is an attorney at law, a Queen's Counsel, and a long practitioner at the bar. As a matter of fact, we go back well over 50 years, even though both of us are only in our late 40s, and I am delighted to have him with us this evening to give us his view of the 4 constitutional bills. Welcome, Harvey. Good to have you on Moving Forward.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you live in Freeport. How long have you lived in Freeport?
Just over 35 years.
35 years. I recall when you moved
a little
down.
more than a half of my life.
Yes, yes. And so you've been a bit out of the mainstream of the city on a daily basis, and a lot of persons may not know very much about you. Perhaps you'll just want to give us just a brief insight into your background and what you espouse.
Well, I was born on just off East Street, in a side street called Odell Corner, in March of 1945.
You're a Grantstown man then? That's right? That's Grantstown?
No, they've been changing the names of the political constituency.
Of the constituency, but the community is Grantstown.
Well, it may well
be. Grantstown, yes.
I grew up knowing it to be Over the Hill.
Over the Hill, that's...
Yeah.
Over the Hill is made up of Grantstown on the eastern half and Baintown on the western half, but it is Over the Hill.
Right. I live west of Collins Wall, on a street that was a dead end.
Oh, Odell Corner.
And one had to jump the wall to get into what was called Centerville.
Yes.
But that wall was quite a marker and a barrier that separated 2 communities. At some point, some politician decided to include Odell Corner, Gibbs Corner, that area, in the constituency called Centerville. And I believe it is now called Farm Road.
It was Farm Road, it's now Centerville, yeah.
Okay. Oh, it was Farm Road, now Centerville. I'm not so sure as to what is what. But I grew up through Odell Corner. You know where the big fruit stand is?
Oh, yes, with a Chinese restaurant on the corner.
That's right.
Almost directly opposite Taylor Street.
Chinese restaurant is on the site where I think Sir Lyndon may have, if he wasn't born, where he grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was an East Street man. I was a Odell Corner boy. Yeah.
Well, it's good having you, and in your professional life, you have served as a judge on occasion.
On a temporary,
Yes.
from time to time.
Yes, on
I wouldn't
occasions.
claim to be a retired justice.
No. You've just served from time to time, and we are delighted to have you as we look into these very, very important bills. And I do not wish to minimize the importance of the 4 of these bills. You know,
I don't think any right-thinking Bahamian should seek to minimize the significance of them all.
That's right. That's right.
Each and every one of them.
Each one of them, because they're very important, particularly at this time in our existence. So, do you have a sort of overview that you would like to offer? For example, the 3 bills are different from the 4th one. The first 3 are different.
The first 3
from the 4th
deal
one.
with citizenship. And if anyone were to suggest to you that these 4 bills as a package address the subject of gender equality, that person is lying to you. The first 3 bills deal with the question of citizenship. I'm very sorry about that. The first 3 bills deal with the section, with the subject of citizenship, and the 4th bill seeks to make it unlawful to discriminate on the basis of sex.
So you're saying they're not gender equality bills?
Far from it.
Okay.
And anyone who suggests that they are is telling you a lie. As simple as that.
So why would you say they're not gender equality? I want to be very specific.
Because bills 1, 2, and 3 make provision for the attainment or the acquisition of citizenship. Bill 1 by children, Bill 3 by children, Bill 2 by foreign spouses. And if you look at what they provide for, they don't. You will find nowhere in any of the 4 bills that the subject gender equality appears. Those words simply don't appear.
But they're very important bills, 1 through 3.
They are
because
very important.
Citizenship is a very important matter.
Citizenship is perhaps the most important status anyone can hold in any country. In the Bahamas, if you hold the status of a citizen, you have a right to enter and leave unrestricted. You have a right to reside here, to work without restriction and make financial provision for your family, to own land and build a home, to vote in elections and help pick the government of the country, to hold office, whether as parliamentarian or the office of prime minister. As a citizen, you can hold the office of governor general, which is head of state in the country. So citizenship is a status of the greatest importance, and in my view, it should not be treated as a cheap giveaway, the kind of trinkets that were recently given out at the recent Junkanoo Carnival party at Clifford Park a few weeks ago. I attended that party, and I saw the amount of free giveaways by BTC and Island Luck. Citizenship is not that type of item. And it is an item that should be jealously guarded, very jealously guarded by any loyal and right-thinking Bahamian.
So would you want to address the 3 bills individually and the impact on the citizenship issue that you find so important?
Well, first of all, I believe that citizenship is a status which ought to come automatically to the child of any Bahamian citizen, man or woman. If one's mother or father is a citizen of the Bahamas, it means that one is born with what I refer to as Bahamian blood in his veins. And being the offspring of a Bahamian citizen one automatically, one may say, earns the right to the status of citizenship by simply having Bahamian blood in one's veins. That does not apply to foreign spouses. So you would find that I would no doubt, when I speak, advance an argument that, look, this is an argument that goes in favor of Bill number 1 and Bill number 3 being seriously considered, because they deal with children who are the offspring of Bahamian citizens. That same argument does not apply to Bill number 2. But in the case of Bill number 3, in the present form as proposed, they have defects. Mm-hmm. Bill 1 has a defect, in my view, in that Bill 1 will give the right to all children married to born of a Bahamian woman outside the country, mm-hmm. the right to citizenship at the point of birth.
Provided she is married to a non-Bahamian?
No, at this moment. Mm-hmm. At this moment.
Oh, at this moment, yes. The child has citizenship, yes.
That if she is married,
yes.
then she may not, her children
yes.
may not necessarily earn that right.
That's right.
At this moment, if a Bahamian woman who is single has a child born out of the country, mm-hmm. that child earns the right to be a citizen
yes.
at the moment of its birth. It has the immediate right to citizenship. In the case of a Bahamian woman who is married to a foreign man, if she has a child born outside the country, that child does not have the immediate right to citizenship. Mm-hmm. And it would seem that Bill number 1 is intended to correct that. I might point out in passing that as the law currently stands, there is a difference between the child born to an unmarried Bahamian woman who has the right to citizenship and the child born to a married Bahamian woman who does not have the right to citizenship. The difference is between two women. It has nothing to do with a difference in gender. Mm-hmm. But the status of marriage or being single, whether the person is married to a foreign man and the child is born out of the country. It is that kind of distinction. It has nothing to do with gender. Bill number 1 does not seek to correct a problem that has to deal with gender at all. My criticism of Bill number 1 is that it would have effect if and when Bill number 1 is passed into law. After the 7th of June 2016. So we have a problem today that Bill number 1 seems to address, and that is that children born with Bahamian blood to a married Bahamian woman, if she's married to a foreigner, and they're born outside the country, they do not acquire the rights of a citizen at the moment of their birth.
That's right.
That seems to be a problem that Bill number 1 wishes to address. But it will only kick in to benefit those children born after the 7th of June. So that the children who are already here, who are with us, who constitute the problem that we are trying to correct or solve, they're going to be the very ones who are left out in the cold. They will not benefit from the proposed change that is intended in Bill number 1. And they seem to be the class of children we're seeking to benefit.
So are you suggesting that perhaps that particular law should be made retroactive? Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's amazing the number of Bahamian women who have had children born out of wedlock. Married Bahamian women, my error. The number of married Bahamian women who initially thought that Bill number 1 would confer citizenship on their children who are already born. Mm-hmm. But the provisions of Bill 1 will take effect upon the coming into effect of Bill number 1. which means
Yes.
it will only take effect if Bill number 1 is passed into law. So the very children who are, one would expect to be benefited from those that we see from day to day, those who are here with us, those who are no doubt waiting to reach the age of 18 to make application, they will be in the exact same position they are in after the 7th of June 2016, if Bill number 1 becomes law.
So you're saying that those who suffered, and perhaps was the reason for this even being considered, will not benefit?
No.
And so we are not benefiting those who are already here and who have already suffered, but we are seeking to help those who are not here yet.
Exactly.
All right, but back to the question, should this bill include retroactivity, or should it include, as we say in others, grandfathering?
I've not been a member of Parliament, but I am being told by a member of Parliament that when he voted, or did not vote, or whatever role he played in Parliament, the bill that he thought he was being asked to vote on was one that was to be retroactive, to permit the children who are, I'm using a word perhaps inappropriately, the children who now constitute the problem that you're trying to solve. He thought he was voting for a bill that would enable them to acquire citizenship.
Right.
They belong to the same class of being born to a Bahamian woman, married to a foreign man outside the country. Those who are born after the bill, after the 7th of June, will benefit. Those who are here will not. It's as simple as that. So a bill which is a part of a package, which we are being told is intended to end discrimination, will actually introduce discrimination between children in the same class who are here and those not yet born.
In other words, those who were born prior to June 7th, or whenever it's enacted,
will not benefit.
And those who are born post June 7th, there will be this distinction between them.
Yeah, they would.
Listen, that's very interesting. We don't hear that perspective very often in discussing or hearing the discussion on Bill number 1, but it's a very, very valid point.
And it's good reason why this bill should be sent back to those who put it together to rethink, is the word some use.
Yes, there is some merit to that, because many mothers that I'm aware of who have suffered, their children born under those conditions were not able to attain Bahamian citizenship, and they were looking forward to that being changed. Now that we know that that will not be changed, I mean, the disappointment must be devastating to some of them.
I would think so.
Well,
I wouldn't be surprised.
We're going to go into that a little further and look at the other bills as soon as we come back from this break. Folks, don't go away. We'll be right back.